Hey guys, and welcome back to another video, this time again looking back into 2D side scrollers. And what I have set up here is this little scenario where we have two flat walls that go up some ways, and our job is to get to the top of one of them. But there's no normal way to do that, so what we're going to do in this video is to add a wall jump, or in this case multiple wall jumps and stringing them together, which is just the natural occurrence of doing it this way in the code. So let's take a look. We can ignore all of this, and it's about here. This is where the setup begins in order to start it off. Ooh, I got a download. Thank you very much, random person. Much appreciated. Oh dear, let's get started. What we're going to check for: movement events. So if we go to movement events on the ground, when we are on the ground, our multi-jump count, which is under jump, so if we go to movement properties, jump, multi-jump count, and we're going to set that to 1, so we can only do one jump, we can't double jump. Simple. And we're going to check for a couple of more things here. We're going to check when we are jumping, so that's another movement property instead of on ground, jumping. If we are jumping, if our character status says, okay, he is currently jumping, we're going to disable the allow quick turn, which is advanced movement, allow quick turn. And if the left stick is being pressed in any direction, we're going to move with strafing. That's a very simple setup in order to get this looking correct. Now we need the jump button, which is, as traditionally in most games, A. So we're going to say when the A button is pressed, we're going to child a bunch of lines under this, trust me, about 4 or so lines. And we're going to say when we're not on the ground. So we got that same ground from movement events, but we're going to go into timing and logic and say when we are not. So it's the opposite, so when we're not on the ground. We're going to do a couple of things. We're going to set out a raycast hit tile. And you can find that under sensors. And this essentially sends out beam sort of thing out of the center of the object that this tile is placed in this case the character, so it'll come out of his crotch I suppose. And we're going to say direction, which is a simple modifier to say the direction of which way the ray will shoot out, and we're going to say 2D forward. So as you can see by that tile, it is in fact out of his crotch. And the other modifier for this is going to be the length. If you use the modifiers and length for this one, you'll get the correct length, because there are two tiles that both look identical and they both say length. One is for vectors and this one is for rays, so make sure you get the right one. And I'll set that to 0.6, which is a really short ray, so we have to be quite close to the wall, if not touching the wall, to actually make this happen. So that's our two checks. It's going to check first when we press the A button, so this is after we've jumped, and we press A again when we're against the wall. It's going to first check to see if we're not on the ground. Okay, so we're not touching the floor. Then it sets out the ray. Does that hit the wall? If it does, yes. Then it'll increase the multi-jump count by 1. So now we've got 2 jumps. So we've jumped into the wall. We've pressed A again. It's done the 2 checks. And now it's increased it by 1, so we can do a jump. So now it does the jump, but when it does the jump it will also do a dodge, which is just under combat, dodge, in direction, which is a modifier, and then we're going to say backward, which is a positioning, directions, backward. And that gives us a backflip off the wall. It just looks neater and tidier and a hell of a lot cooler. So if we go back 3 links from this one where we've got this raycast hit, which is underneath the not on ground. So we've got 1 in, and this one is 2 in. So we've got 1, 2, 1, 2. So I need to put that back up there. So we're going to come back in and we're going to bring this in 2 again, and we're going to do another raycast hit in the direction of the 2D forward, but this time the length is going to be set to negative 0.6 minus 0.6. So instead of coming out of his crotch, this time it's coming out of his arse. So this means if the wall is behind us, we are also going to check and do the jump. We're going to increase it by 1, then it's going to jump rather, and then it's going to dodge in the direction of forward, so it will do the forward roll and kick off the wall forward if the wall is behind him when we press it. And that's all you need to set up a wall jump. I'll give you a quick test. It's over this way. Goodbye. You can see my little flares. So now we get to the wall, jump, press A again, and keep pressing A every time we hit the wall. And you can see we can gain height and do some neat looking back flips, front flips. Up we go, up the wall. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this. This is very simple. You can also do a backflip and get up here. Nice and simple. I really do hope you enjoyed this. I'm planning on to do a lot more of these as they come and go whenever I think of new ones, depending on it mostly depends on what I'm doing at the time, and I'll see where I take it from there really. So that's it from me. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.